We keep hearing how crucial the data is when it comes to Victoria's record-breaking lockdowns, but to me, Chairman Dan just uses that as a bit of a foil. It is not the COVID data that's keeping Melbourne locked up. It's his strange and weak interpretation of the data. Now, they keep talking about active cases, which, because they're known and recorded, well, they're all in quarantine. They're not spreading the virus. Those are not the danger. He keeps referring to very sick people in ICU, which has long since passed, and I'll show you why in a second. And then the mystery cases. If Victoria's contact tracing was first class, as it is in New South Wales, and not run on paper or facts, those mystery clusters could easily be traced and contained. Let me put the actual data on the screen for you right now, comparing the two states to emphasise the point I'm trying to make here. On the current measure of serious intensive care patients, Victoria is better placed than New South Wales. New cases today, Victoria is better placed than New South Wales. Looking at active cases, Victoria has just 191 now, all rugged up at home, but New South Wales had more than that only 6 weeks ago and drove those down, kept keeping things open, mind you. Mystery cases, Victoria's talking about approximately 10, and back to that same date, in August, New South Wales had 10 and drove it down quickly. Deaths, of course, are not a measurement of how much this virus is spreading, so even their death toll can't be used as an excuse to retain lockdowns. If Chairman Dan wasn't so arrogant, he'd see this data through the prism of New South Wales and open the damn joint. Suicides, as we know now, are chronically high in Victoria. Businesses are dropping like flies and livelihoods are being destroyed every day. Now, Health Officer Brett Sutton made a curious claim today that this lockdown mentality was not his primary source of fighting the virus.
Followed a strategy that is not using lockdown interminably. We are using the restrictions that are in place now to drive the case numbers down so that we can get to the very thing that WHO is talking about, not having restrictions in place in the long term because you can control at a sustainable level. Either, as is the National Cabinet decision and the national strategy, no community transmission, 0 cases of community transmission, that's nationally agreed, or if we can't get there at a level of a few cases per day that is sustainable in terms of follow-up and management of the outbreaks and the contacts that we need to follow, if that's the case.
Really? They're creating a world record in the length of their lockdown. They're not balancing the dual concerns of health and jobs, otherwise restrictions would have been eased already. Meanwhile, guess what's happening in New South Wales, who had more overnight transmissions, by the way, and have more people in ICU? They will relax restrictions further this Friday. The 1 person per 2 square metre rule will apply to outdoor hospitality venues. There must be a QR code system in place, but that's hardly tough for the establishment. While music concerts can have 500 people present, up from 20. You see, this is the way you balance both challenges, both of which are just as devastating. You've got to have the guts to balance both. Sadly for Victorians, the government is hiding the truth and has put your future in grave jeopardy.